Hello, friend. I see that you have started something new. If you've been drawn to this reading, likelihood is you have a new business or creative project that you have started and you are moving forward. You have established the thing, you've taken your first steps. So let's go ahead and look at this reading to help you navigate this early stages so you can take this initial movement that you have, this initial forward movement, and create some sort of a momentum to carry you through this early stages, through the beginning of whatever this thing that you've created. Guiding our reading, I have the Bright Mother. The Bright Mother is the quintessential Mother Earth card, Mother Earth Fae of the Fairies Oracle deck. She helps you to build new things. She's with you from the moment you are born in life to the moment you die, helps you navigate the various different stages, the spring of your life, the summer, fall, and winter. She is guiding you to become a more expanded, more evolved, more powerful and beautiful, loving kind of being. And that means whatever adventures in your life you are experiencing, whatever adventures that you take up, she is the one guiding you along the way. She is the one helping you to learn the lessons that you need, to develop the skills that you need, to grow into the person capable of creating the reality that you want for yourself. All right, the first card I have is the Eight of Swords. Now, when we're looking at the Eight of Swords, you see this individual. She's blindfolded, she's got all these wrappings around her, and she's surrounded by these swords. Now, she might feel like she's a little bit hopeless, but what she doesn't realize is that she can actually just undo the bindings herself. They're actually pretty loose. Take off the blindfold and walk away. You have come to this realization that you are, in fact, the one in control of your reality. She seems to be in this, desolate, desperate kind of situation for herself. But the thing of the matter is, she created this reality. However, we do have this light that breaks through the clouds, this realization that if she created this reality, if you were able to create a difficult situation or resistance for yourself, you are also capable of producing the freedom, the prosperity, the independence and joy and abundance that you want. Okay. You have moved into the Page of Pentacles energy. This is your new venture, your new creative thing, your new business, whatever it is that you are working on, whatever it is that you have birthed that's in its early stages. You are this page, right? You now have a little bit of knowledge, things you can refer to help you understand how to move forward. Whether, say, like in the case of a business, maybe you need a certain skills and you develop certain skills, but you're also still, kind of like doing a little bit of study, as you're moving along, right? Because being in this page energy, you're still early on, so there's plenty of growth already. Next up, I have the Page of Swords. Now, this is communicating to me, communication. Somebody is coming swiftly to bring you some information that you need, to communicate something for you, to help you take this idea that you have and move it forward. You have this excitement, this energy, you've got this vision, right? You have the telescope that this individual has on their side. You can see into the future at least enough to be able to say, this is the direction I want to go. However, yet again, because this is a page energy, there are still certain things you don't know, certain skills you haven't developed. And the universe is working some things behind the scenes for you. You have the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords, he is sneaking behind the enemy lines to steal weapons from their camp so they cannot attack at dawn. Now, this isn't suggesting, like some sort of trouble or difficulty. It's just a matter that the universe is working things behind the scenes that you do not know. Maybe they are building connections, maybe they are just creating certain circumstances that are going to allow you the opportunities to be able to pull off whatever you are now working with. Perhaps you have had some loss in the past, a certain measure of, things that are unreclaimable, these 3 cups here being spilled, but you do have these 2 cups. You have some gifts within you that cannot be taken away by the circumstances of life. And these things have taught you, lessons, experiences that you've had. And the reason that it's not a bad thing is because it was actually intended to free you of burdens, right? If you're going to go start out on a new venture, let's say you start a new business, since this is the direction we're going, you may have not had positive experiences in another workplace. Maybe you got to a point where you decided, I really need to create something for myself because I cannot rely on the whims of an employer to make sure that I have enough, to make sure that I can meet ends, to make sure that my time is respected, that I'm treated with dignity in the place where I have to go to be able to work in order to make a living. So you've created this new venture, right? Being that you're in the full energy, you don't necessarily know everything that's ahead of you. And because of that, you are kind of in this 7 of Cups, right? You have this daydreaming, you're looking, at the possibilities, imagining what could come of this, what do you want to create, do you want treasure, do you want prosperity, do you want adventure, what is it, right? And what I'm getting the impression of is that as you've been daydreaming, you kind of have started to recognize that there is at least a certain energy that you want to create for yourself, and that's the Emperor. I'm getting the Emperor here as the energy of legacy. Somebody who has built up generational wealth. Perhaps you want to be the first person in your family who has, come out of poverty into something, financially prosperous. Maybe you're just looking for financial independence. Either case being, if you look at his feet sitting here, as he's sitting here on his throne, his feet right here on the world, you are envisioning that you want your world. You want the world. Maybe that's not necessarily saying you have these ambitions to be like some massive global leader, but what is the world to you? What does it look like in your mind when you imagine having your personal kingdom, your abundance, your prosperity, your love, your connections, whatever it is? What does that look like to you, right? Well, one thing it definitely does look like to you is having enough to share. You have this 6 of Pentacles. The individual here, he is wealthy. He has done the work to become somebody who has enough to share with others, right? He's got his scales here, so you have good judgment. You know who is worth investing into, like you might have a lot of people who would be like, hey, I see you have this new thing, you have this new prosperity, can you help me out? Some of them may not be, worth putting your money into. Not saying that people aren't worthy, but like in the sense of like, if somebody asked you for money, like, and that they would end up spending it on something destruction, you wouldn't want to invest into that because you don't want that harm to be perpetuated, right? But then you may have somebody that if you were to bless, would honor that blessing and be able to use it to grow, to be able to use it to create something for themselves, right? This legacy energy, if you have something that you can pass on to others, then you can create some sort of continuous motion forward, right? Current, the energy moving. Now, you've got this vision, but we do still need to be practical because you are in the early stages. Maybe right now you're not making enough money from your creative project, from your business, to be able to make that your full-time thing. So we have to have a little bit of a balancing act, You might have the the 9 to 5, but then you have your thing. Make sure that you're balancing the time and your energy and your focus between the two things, so that way you can maintain, but you can also grow. And this is a little bit of a tightrope act. Perhaps you're going to have to make some sacrifices, or you're going to have to stay focused, stay on a short and narrow kind of path. But if you do stay focused and you balance the the responsibilities that you have, that the old thing is at least sustaining well enough, and the new thing that you're building, so that way you can grow, you will reach your destination. In fact, you may be surprised. We have the Page of Cups. She has her artistic vision, her creativity. Sorry, the artistic vision's here. Her creativity. And one day, she's gazing into this cup, she's been investing into, and this little bird pops out. Instead of the fish that you would see in the classic, Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So this little bird pops out, and it's like, surprise! So something comes in that is going to really be a blessing and really helpful for you. You've maybe been struggling on your own. You've maybe been doing the work on your own, but something's going to come in as a result of the focus that you've been putting in, as a result of the energy, the emotion, and the dedication you have. Somebody's going to be like, hey, I see you, I'm inspired, and I want to help you. Okay. We have next the Star. Sorry, gotta cover that up because YouTube doesn't like nudity. When we look at the Star, she's pouring water both onto the earth and into the water here, right? You have this inner world you're cultivating, and then the outer practicality. You have the old job and the new creative thing, right? This just reinforcing how if you maintain this balance, you are going to achieve the thing. You're going to have your wish come true, right? The Page of Cups here, this little bird, this star, the surprise, the blessing. Okay. Now I'm getting that somebody is going to be communicating with you. And this might seem a little harsh at first, at least on the outside, to somebody who's not in the situation. Because when we look at the Queen of Swords, a lot of people would call her we'll say the Witch of the Tarot with a B. But the reality of the matter is, she's not really cold. She's just decisive. She understands boundaries. She's very clear. This is a woman who has experienced difficulties that have sharpened her into somebody who has the ability to look at things in an objective manner and make good decisions. Somebody is going to be coming to communicate to you, and they might be just a bit forward. But how you know that this isn't a negative kind of energy is it's going to ring true intuitively. They're going to touch on some kind of an emotional type of energy for you, or maybe something that you have been experiencing in your dreams, or through other synchronicities. What they're going to communicate to you is going to relate to that. And the thing that they're communicating, we have the Eight of Wands here, the swift movement, the communication, the expansion. We have Jupiter here in the background, and this is what I'm getting, that their communication is going to be about how you can grow. They're going to be giving you information that is going to be useful for you expanding whatever the venture you're creating. Now, the thing that they're going to be communicating to you, let's go ahead and look at this Eight of Cups. So when you think about the Eight of Cups, this individual here, you've got the stack of cups, and then there's this one empty spot. And that might mean you have all these blessings, all these skills, this prosperity, whatever it is that you need, but you have this one cup that's missing, and maybe you've been searching for the solution, maybe you've been searching for the answer, and she's going to be able to point you in the right direction and say, hey, this is the thing that you need to do, or this is the direction that you need to go with something in order to have this last piece that you need. And it's going to be about a skill. So when we look at this Eight of Pentacles here, the boy here, he is developing a skill. He's crafting these pinnacles. He's creating something through practice, through repetition. So somebody's going to be like, hey, if you practice this thing specifically, it is going to be immensely helpful for you. It is going to be the thing you need that is going to make the difference between just getting started and really picking up some speed. And speaking of picking up speed, we have the Knight of Wands. So this is that fiery, passionate energy you have. You know, more than just the Page of Wands who has the inspiration, the new idea, and they're ready for an adventure. You now have come to this point where the energy is really starting to build up, right? And you're ready to go. You are absolutely just wanting to take off. But we have this Chariot in reverse, which means maybe you're not quite yet able to completely take off, right? Normally you would have the balance between the two horses or two unicorns in this particular deck. But in reversed, it's kind of that flat tire type of a thing. Maybe you literally do have a flat tire on your vehicle, or you know, something needs to be taken care of in order to be able to help you move forward. And in this instance, I'm getting the impression that it has to do with these two unicorns, right? Maybe, you know, one of the unicorns is focused and ready to move forward, and the other one's being a bit stubborn and, or, you know, not helpful at the moment. And thing is, you know, you might be like, hey, well, I've done the work, I've done the healing. The Ten of Swords reversed. So if we think about the Ten of Swords, you know, it comes to this point of like the end of a situation, right? You don't have an 11 of Swords. You can't get any more. This is like rock bottom, but, you know, this gold water, the water reflecting the sunlight here is actually a matter of hope, because if you've come to the very end, if you come to rock bottom on something, you can't get any lower, right? But when we're looking at this in reversed, what I'm getting here is you've moved past the rock bottom energy. You have taken the swords out. So you're like, well, I've done the healing work. Why am I still having trouble moving forward? So you may have done the healing work, but you need to let go of some burdens. I mean, you're still carrying a lot of something. Maybe it's a lot of responsibility. Maybe you're saying to yourself that, like, hey, I can carry this whole thing by myself. I don't need help. I've got this. And it's a possibility that you do. But just remember, the thing is, if you want to carry all this weight by yourself, it's going to be a little bit harder to get back to town, right? You need to let go of some of that burden. And that is where the Two of Cups comes in. So we're looking at the Two of Cups here. It's love. It's partnership. It's connection. Maybe if you're not looking for, you know, some kind of romantic connection, maybe you have your new business and you go, I need to find a business partner. Or somebody comes to you and they offer you some sort of a proposal or business deal, right? You have the synergy that happens between the two of you. Now, I got a good feeling, though, that for a lot of you, this is, in fact, romantic. And that romance actually still could come with the business end. Maybe, you know, you're finding yourself or going to find yourself in a relationship with somebody who's very smart, who, you know, knows how things work, knows how to accomplish goals. You have the vision. They have certain knowledge and experience. And then the two energies combined, you have this synergy. Just want to remind you to be a bit open, right? When we look at this King of Wands, the King of Wands has come to a level of maturity that the Knight of Wands has not. He definitely still has the fiery, passionate energy, but now he doesn't let him just pull him in any direction, you know. He knows that, like, instead of just being like, oh, I have this idea, run over here. Oh, I have this idea, run over there. To pick what he wants and to focus on that, to really bring his energy into that. And something that comes to my mind, though, is how he's got his hand open here. He's receptive, right? The King of Wands, he definitely has the power to get things done by himself, but he is not against having help. So you can stand in your power, you can stand in your prosperity and your strength, and still be willing to receive. Okay? If you don't, if you stay, stuck with this burden and you don't let go of it, you are coming to a resistance of change. We have death reversed. Now, death is not really a scary card in all actuality. When you get to have a healthy relationship with that energy, the old needs to be removed so that the new can come in. You have fall before winter, winter before spring. It's just a natural part of the cycle. But if you don't have help, or if you don't accept the help that's available to you, whether you see it or not, just be open to it. If you are open to the help, then the universe can naturally help you to move with the rhythms so that way you can get to where you're going. And where you are going is the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles is the vision that you have, the prosperity. You have this beautiful garden. You have this wealth. You are moving toward creating something for yourself. You have started out. You're on the path. Same pentacle. You've started the thing. You have a vision. Be open and willing to receive help. Hopefully this reading has been valuable for you. Hopefully it will encourage you to know how to move forward, to know that you have what it takes and that it is okay to let somebody else help you along the way. If this reading resonated with you, I'd absolutely love it if you would drop a comment. Go ahead and like the video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Head into my channel, find a video that resonates with you, and I will see you in the next one.